This episode is presented by So Delicious Dairy Free. We listen to music to free our minds, but are you ready to dairy free your mind? This summer, discover So Delicious Dairy Free frozen desserts. With so many next level flavors that are 100% dairy free and unbelievably creamy, your taste buds will do a double take as you figure out your ultimate flavor. Is it salted caramel cluster or chocolate cookies and cream, cookie dough or coconut vanilla bean, or even mint chip or the classic vanilla? Find out at sodeliciousdairyfree.com. Welcome everyone to a special episode of Dissect. I'm your host, Cuchna, and here to talk about Clipse's new album, Let God Sort 'Em Out, is the most culturally inappropriate guest I could find.
Yeah.
The Pusha T to my Malice, Charles Holmes. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah. I'm doing so well. This is my group. This is my type of music. That negativity, that grit, I'm so excited. Also, you are my Malice. You are like the heart, the soul. You know what I'm saying? And you
I
just
think
would
so.
be looking at me in interviews being like, here you go again, talking that shit.
I'm just quietly, very politely just watching you go off, yeah. Well, yeah, we're here to talk about Clipse's new album. Charles, you're somewhat of a super fan, right? Give the audience a little bit of taste of your Clipse fandom. I might have heard you say one time they were your favorite rap group, maybe even above Outkast. Is that true?
Personally, I'm not saying that like they're the better group. I'm not ready to have that conversation. But in terms of personally my taste, Clipse is that group for me. It's everything I love about rap. And it's funny, my Clipse fandom, like I can remember watching the Grinding music video on MTV, but it wasn't until really college where I just became just a super fan. That was around the time that Pusha T was with Good Music and he was releasing, all those albums. And I don't know what it was about that time in my life, but every single album, the mixtapes, the everything, I can't get enough. Were you a Clipse fan? Because we've talked about this on Last Song Standing. You had that weird time when you went to college where you completely dropped off with pop music and you were super in your classical bag. So were you a fan of Clipse?
I was actually. My best friend was a super fan of Pharrell, Neptunes, and Clipse. So he turned, and this was pre-college days. So he turned me on to Clipse pretty early on. Like I remember the album's coming out in real time and listening to them with him in real time. It's interesting though. They're one of the groups though, when you listen to them when you're young and then you return to them, you did like when you're younger, at least for me, like I didn't realize everything they were doing, especially lyrically. Sonically, I was always drawn to like Neptune's production, and it's so obvious how far ahead of their time the Neptunes were in terms of production. But lyrically, going back to those albums and then now with this new album, it's just like these guys are just fucking masters.
They're so good. And you want to know what I think also is funny? I think we're now at a time with this album where we're respecting Clipse as lyricists, where to your point, they've always been this good. They've always been this lyrical. But if you would have told me back when I heard the Grinding beat that they could release an album in 2025 and still sound fresh. That's what's different. Like, there's no shot at Nas. Nas sounds old on this record. And you know what I mean? Like that, his flow, like Nas is a G. He is one of the greatest ever. But struggles sometimes to sound contemporary. To me, in my ear, I'm like, oh, Pusha T and Malice still sound contemporary. They still sound fresh. They still like the beats. Pharrell, before we get into our first impressions, that was one thing where I was like, damn, they're 50, late 40s, still rapping so well.
It's pretty incredible. And I think we'll talk about a little bit of like hip hop and its maturation and living with some of these artists and seeing Eminem age one way and seeing maybe Clipse aging another, seeing an Andre 3000 aging on a whole another sphere. And just like, well, let's save a little bit because I want to start with we're going to talk about our favorite songs. We're going to talk about the features. We're going to talk about production, but I want to honor the rollout a little bit before we get into the actual album because I don't know about for you. This was one of the most enjoyable rollouts in recent memory for me. I think a lot of it is a product of them having this record recorded for over a year and maybe just having the time to kind of strategically plan it out. but it just seems so tasteful in terms of like who they are talking to, the outlets they chose to talk about, what they chose to talk about in those interviews, the way the visuals and the everything was just this obviously the songs were great, the music videos were great, and it just seemed like everything was just the even the tempo of like we would get something every week. It seems like, but it never felt like they were overdoing it, which you can kind of, like didn't feel like a big budget rollout, but it did feel very strategic and like to me, very effective to the point where like nowadays I actually don't like long rollouts because it seems like the artist or the people around them kind of struggle to carry momentums for months in the way that they kind of used to. But this one felt totally, totally great. Are you in agreement on that?
I mean, as someone who was cut from this cloth, like music magazines, radio interviews, I think the funniest thing about this rollout is like music used to be like this. Like when you were going to promote a record, you would do an interview with Rolling Stone, with Billboard, you go to the New York Times, you would have your radio run. And what I love about this is I think, and I remember when it started happening, in my life with The Weeknd. I think The Weeknd was influential in a bad way where, oh, mysterious. We don't know his name. We don't know his face. No interviews, no this, no that. And I think along the way, with social media especially, artists wanted to take back control of their narrative to such an extent. Why should I have to give an interview when I have my own Instagram, when I have my Twitter, when I can have my own TikTok? But what I think this rollout has hopefully taught the industry is that clips were never big sellers. They have hit records, but they've always had a story to tell. And the thing that's so enjoyable going and listening to this record is I can listen to a podcast interview, which was phenomenal. And then I can have a greater understanding of the music. Even songs I don't enjoy, I'm like, but the story behind it was so good. They're painting like, oh, we were out in Paris with Pharrell, and this is what it felt like. And everybody who was working on LV was crying and this and that. I think more artists need to understand that only helps the music. Talking to experts, talking to people who love this shit only makes my appreciation for the product deeper.
Yeah, and it had like a little bit of everything, because when the rollout started to happen, it was like the Travis Scott beef and the Ye lines, and it was like, we got a taste of like we got some tea, it was enjoyable.
Yeah.
But then we started getting more of the quality interviews, the more meaningful interviews, and seeing them together again was just great. And just Push is just such a great interview. Like he just doesn't give a fuck. He'll just say exactly how he's thinking. It's just there's an authenticity to both of these guys that is just so enjoyable.
I mean, I'm not the first one to notice this. I've almost probably watched like every single Clipse interview, and the face that Malice makes when Pusha T gets into that zone of talking his shit, because in every interview, Pusha T will say something that is so fucking funny. Whether it is about Kanye or Travis. He called Travis, he's like doing his little monkey dance. He was like, Kanye, he's like, I don't respect him as a leader. I only like his music. Every single, whether it's Jim Jones, whoever, and just Malice being like, all right, you got my little bro going again. All right, here we go. But also what's funny too is, have you noticed in some of the interviews, you can see when Malice is like, this is exactly why I left the industry. When they start bringing up Drake and shit, he's like, God damn, another, which is fascinating.
I know. Yeah. He doesn't seem as enthused with the press run. And to his credit, he kind of just lets Push take over for 90% of it and just drops gems when he feels like it. And also the fact that this album was made in Paris at the Louis Vuitton headquarters is just, when you think about how they came in the industry with like Bape and then Ice Cream and kind of being an early icon of streetwear. Yeah. And now the ascension of Pharrell and Clipse alongside them, just the symbolism of that. Because to your point, like in 2004 or whenever, can you imagine them making a record in 2025 that would sound this good? And if you knew back then that they would be recording it in the literal Louis Vuitton headquarters, there's something so beautiful and poetic about just that symbolism.
I mean, I could not agree more. And it's funny. Do you think that rappers even have that much power to like, when I was growing up, style, you know, whether it was like wanting to wear Rockaware because that was what Hove was wearing, or everything that the Clipse did with Pharrell, where it was like when I was a kid, I could not afford the clothes, but Bape, BBC, Ice Cream, Pusha T and Malice were part of that. I would see them on like covers and interviews, and I'm like, these are the coolest any rappers ever fucking looked. And that's something that I miss now, where I'm like, it's not that same thing where it's like you would see what a rapper was wearing, and as a kid I was 12 just being like, fuck, if I could just get a Bape hoodie, I'd be the coolest person ever.
Did you have an all over print hoodie?
No, my parents were not fucking with that shit. They were just not. I had, you know what, I had some Evisu jeans, I had some LRG, okay. You know, I had a little bit. I wasn't pulling any of it off. I looked like a dork. But that is something where it's like, you probably remember your friend who was into the Clipse. I guarantee you he was sold on the entire image, the entire brand that they were selling.
Yeah, we wanted to be just like them. We didn't have enough money to be, and we were white. But so, you know, there's limitations to the imitation. But yeah, for sure. They were Pharrell especially was just, I mean, still so cool. But back then, oh my God.
But even because Pharrell too, like I've been very, very off Pharrell for a while because it's just like he's always an icon, he's a legend, but I think he's been in a very like, I'm above the fray, I'm not gonna beef with Drake or like I'm not gonna do all that. And I was watching the Complex cover video where they were kind of breaking down all the songs, and we finally got to see Pharrell talk his shit. Like we got you were like, oh, Pharrell, he pays attention. He knows people think he lost it. And he just like the look on his face, like hearing his own beats, listening to the Clipse rap. I'm like, oh, this is the Pharrell that I grew up on. This was the like in my mind, talking shit, a fly as hell Pharrell that I love to see. I wish Pharrell gave us more of that energy more often because it's something we don't get anymore.
Yeah, and you could tell he was genuinely inspired to make this project, because one of my worries going into it was like, you know, when you get to be the head designer of Louis Vuitton, it's like, how much time do you have to make an album?
Yeah,
you know, and it's like, was he going to be spread too thin? And to his credit, I don't know if he's working with other guys and stuff, but I mean, these beats sound phenomenal. They don't sound rushed. They sound polished. They sound, I mean, in that interview, he's talking about all the polishing that he did to every single sound, every single beat. I love the fact that the album's 13 songs and 40 minutes long.
Yep.
It's the perfect length, in and out. Every song is quality. At least not yet. I'm not reaching for the phone to skip a song. Like the track list plays beautifully. So yeah, let's just jump into our first impressions of it. We talked a little bit offline, you know, about it on Friday when it came out. We kind of had similar thoughts, but now we've had the weekend together, or the weekend to kind of take it in. I've been playing it nonstop. So what do you think now? What are your general thoughts on it now?
I love the album way more than I did first listen. And my first listen wasn't, I think what was happening is what's hard with Clipse is that so few rappers get to this point where Pusha T is late 40s, Malice is in his 50s, Pharrell is getting up there, and my affinity for Lord Willin, Hell Hath No Fury, those beats, those rhymes, with any Clipse record, I'm kind of like, oh, is it gonna get there? Is it gonna get there?
Yeah.
And then I put the song on I put the album on in my car, and it finally washed over. I was like, oh fuck yes, this is it. This is what I wanted. It took the car ride to be like, they still fucking have it. They like hearing So Be It, Mike Tyson blow to the face. I roll my windows down. I haven't felt this excited. I remember I was texting you. I haven't felt this excited since whatchamacallit, Kendrick dropped biggest song of the year.
Not Like Us.
Yes, Not Like Us. That was a fit. Like I literally was just like, I cranked Mike Tyson up. I rolled down the window. I'm like, everybody in my neighborhood is doing this shit. It's the greatest day of my life. I am very high on the record right now. What about you?
Yeah, same. I think, I mean, you know, one of the catches with a long rollout is that there is all this anticipation, and like you're putting a lot of pressure on the album to live up to this 3 months of build up. Yeah. And so I think, I mean, I was impressed with the singles for sure. I love the singles. I was like wondering if the rest of the album would live up. I think it does. I think that what was jarring for me actually was the first song.
Lost in emotion, mama's youngest. Trying to navigate life without my compass. Some experience death and feel numbness. But not me, I felt it all and couldn't function. Seeing you that day.
Birds Don't Sing, it was just, you have expectations going into the Clipse album. You have expectations after hearing the singles and knowing I think their sound has matured and evolved, but it's still the core of the Clipse is still, central to the entire thing. And so you put it on, and I was not expecting this, one of the most powerful, beautiful songs about grief and your mother's, your parents passing that I've ever heard. Like it was just kind of a lot right away at 7 a.m. in the morning or whatever I put it on. And it was just not what I was expecting. And so it just like, I don't know, it just kind of like threw me off. And then it took me a little bit to like sink into the album after that.
Can I ask this? I think both of us were leaning towards like, this is a beautiful song. I love this song, but was it the right move to put it first? And listening to the record more, I was like, oh, there is this narrative thread of loss, of grief. There's lines here and there. And I'm like, I kind of now understand it. I don't know if it 100% works, but it gives me a greater appreciation, even when they're talking their shit. Sometimes they'll slip. Like there's a couple lines where like Pusha T's talking about his wife having a miscarriage and the thought of his son growing up not knowing his grandmother, or like Malice talking about like rolling the sunroof down and pointing to the sky. That's where his father is. And I'm like, those lines wouldn't have hit as hard if you don't really start the album with, this is what's happened in our life. This is the biggest thing that's happened to us in decades.
And I mean, there is a question of like, okay, these guys are pushing, Malice is 50, whatever. And Pusha's right there about to be 50. And it's like, are they just going to do the Coke rap thing? Are they just going to do the luxury thing? I think putting it first was in part to answer the question of like, why are we making this album? Yeah. Because we have something to say, because we have dealt with things like loss and grief. We have lived life for 15 years and now we're coming back, and we generally have things to talk about, and we have matured. We do have new things to add to our sound. And I think kind of setting that precedent so boldly, not subtly, it's impossible to hear that song and not be moved by it. I think if you're really listening to it, some of the best lyricism I've ever heard, especially about a subject like that, just the storytelling and them getting so specific of, Push. And it's a song that only they can make, really, because they share the same parents. They are brothers and they each come with their own perspective. Push talks about his mom and like his last memories of her and like the regrets that he had in the final moments of like missing out on the signs that it seems like she was clearly preparing herself to leave. And he was going on vacation, or he's going to Elon and Kanye to go visit Elon and Kanye instead of visiting her and not spending her last Thanksgiving with her. Like that is just crushing. And just the specificity that he's telling it. And then Malice comes with the story about his father. And like the moment he finds his father dead and goes to his house and knocks and he's not answering. And then you get one of the most powerful lines in the entire album, maybe the most powerful line in the entire album, where the final line of Malice's verse, he says, the way you spelled it out, and this is another reason actually. So Malice kind of tells us why he came back. In the final verse, in the final lines of the second verse of this song, he says, I can hear your voice now, talking about his father. I can feel your presence asking, should I rap again? You gave me your blessing. The way you spelled it out, there's an L in every lesson. Boy, you owe it to the world. Let your mess become your message. Yeah. So this album, we have, their parents to thank. Like he gave the blessing. He's the one that told him to do it. And then he has the final line where he says, I love my two boys was the code to your phone. And if you go on the Genius annotation,
I almost started crying when I read that annotation. It was so like, I got chills. And even to your point.
Well, just for the listeners. So in the annotation, Malice says when he's going through his father's things, he found that all of his passwords to like his, to his passwords on his computer and his phone were literally I love my two boys, which is just so sweet, so endearing. But go
So
ahead.
and when we're talking about how the rollout added to this album, when Malice in a lot of interviews, he was like, I went to my dad, who's a deacon in the church, to ask his thoughts about should I rap again? And he was like, I was caught off guard because he was like, son, you've been too hard on yourself. And just to hear that and then go into the record and see Malice moving and rapping in a way where I'm like, oh, part of that hunger is because this man that he loves so much, that was so influential, was just like, yo, you got to share your gift with the world. This is the greatest thing that you do. Like, come on, you're being too hard on yourself. It's so much. I don't know. It's overwhelming. Now, can I ask, does the John Legend hook work? Because I don't know if it does.
Well, I'll say up front, I've just never been a big fan of John Legend. He's just not for me. So I think the melody works for me. Understanding like the sentiment of the song, it's hard to critique it because it is so personal and so it's like, but is it for me exactly? No. I mean, no.
Well, here's the thing too. I think why it's so jarring for me is a couple of things. I get why it makes sense. Obviously, there's a good connection. I'm someone who I was also a fan of everything Good Music did. I listened to the first I listened to a bunch of John Legend records. I was a fan. But what's weird about the Clipse, if you think about it, most of their big poppy stuff, they usually do for other people's records, like Senorita, Justin Timberlake. Senorita wasn't on a Clipse record. Usually, especially with those first two records, you're not really having singers on that shit, Right. Songs like Wamp, Wamp, Virginia, all this stuff. Maybe you'll get a little bit of a Pharrell melody, but even Pusha T was telling a funny story when back when the Neptunes were first coming up and they started popping before the Clipse, when they got the beat for Grinding, Pusha T was just like, hey, yo, this ain't this. Where's the hook? Where are you singing? You singing for Holmes, you singing for this. We're like, we want your melodic. They've never been that. Clipse have always been raps first. And to start your album back with John Legend is a little bit as a fan. I'm like, this is and it's almost reminiscent of Pusha T's solo career, because that's when he started to work with The Dream more and Kanye. Right. And that's also a thing that's kind of running through this record is I'm like, oh, Pusha T changed as an artist since the last time that they were together. So yeah, I don't want to be an asshole. John Legend did do a bad job. It's just It was. I was like, oh, John Legend's on this. I was like, okay.
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, it's just it's a big way to start the album. Will I listen to that song all the time? I'm probably most of the time. I'm probably going to start with Chains and Whips, because when I put on a Clipse album, maybe I'm not looking for that right away. So let's get into Chains and Whips, because this song is fucking phenomenal.
Uncle said, nigga, you must be sick. All you talk about is just get rich. Choke my neck, nigga, and ice my bitch. Beat the system with chains and whips.
This is culturally inappropriate.
The beat is insane.
It is insane.
And then the hook, dude, so let's just talk about their writing, because it's like I've been reading through the lyrics all weekend trying to pull out some stuff to dissect, and it's like, close your eyes and point your finger, and it's like every line, it's literally every single line is so well written, has doubles, internal rhymes, there's just and the articulation of both of them is unprecedented. These guys, the way they just enunciate words is just so beautiful and just, I don't know, so potent. Because
I will say, but don't gloss over that, because that's some real shit. The thing that differentiates Clipse from so many people is that shit is crystal clear. Every word, every line, you can tell what they're saying. And that's honestly why I've always loved them. Because if you really go through the history of rap, name me other rappers who are able to do everything you're saying and still make it crystal clear. And it almost, can I ask you this? Does the enunciation almost make what they do seem easy, where it makes it seem simple? It makes it seem more simple than it is, and then you read the lines and you're just like, oh, there's fucking three fucking things. Like, what is happening?
It does feel easy. I mean, especially at this point in their career, they're just veterans, kind of like just this is second. You can just tell this is like breathing for them. But then, yeah, you go into it and it's deceptively simple. Because it sounds so effortless when they deliver it. But yeah, the enunciation. Well, I think they are able to enunciate so well because they are such great writers.
Yeah.
So when I started digging into the lyrics, the economy of words in every single bar, it's like there's no fat in any words. They execute the idea with the minimal amount of words every time. And so when you don't have the fat to try to, have all these extra syllables that are kind of clunking up your flow, it's like once they find the pocket, it's like every line is going to fit that pocket perfectly, or they're going to, and they don't stay in that pocket for the whole verse. They'll change it to pocket up. But once each pocket is just so immaculately and just like carefully, every word is just calculated and considered. And then when you like just the lyricism of like, or even like the concept of chains and whips is like, we've heard that concept in hip hop like that. There's how many rappers have, done the slavery flip, but it doesn't feel like recycled. It feels fresh in this context for whatever reason. When Uncle said, "You must be sick. All you talk about is just getting rich, choke my neck and ice my bitch. Beat the system with chains and whips." It's just whips. Like, woo! It just gets the people going.
What is also Pusha T, my favorite line on this is when reality TV is mud wrestling. Because for people who don't know, this is a diss. Pusha T's first verse is going at Jim Jones, who they had a little thing back and forth. And when you know it's about Jim Jones and you go back and read the verse, it's so
whatever the opening line, something about you run from repossession because his house got repoed. But it's like so vicious.
Go ahead. You are the Kendrick scholar of the world. I need that instant reaction on the verse. What did you think?
The two-time Gemini with the genocide. I'm generous, however you want it. I'll be the gentle kind. Gentlemen and gangsters connect. The agenda, her mind. Move niggas up out of here. This shit get gentrified. Heavy jeans like...
Okay, I'm kind of mad about this verse, to be honest. Okay, so it leaks, right? I do not listen to leaks. And so when it came out, I saw it leaked, and I was like, I'm not listening to it. And then, of course, the timeline's flooded with like, there's like, blah, blah, blah. He's doing the rhyme scheme from nostalgia, but he's flipping it. And so I was like, okay, now I know. Like, there's just no surprise, and everyone's building it up. And I still didn't listen to the leak. I was like, I want to hear it within the album. I want to be surprised when he comes in. And it was just ruined for me. And so when I got to his verse, I was so excited, but it was like, it was just too much buildup. Like, there was no way for it to live up to like all the hype that I saw. And so I was just like, I wouldn't say disappointed, but it was just like, the experience of it was ruined for me in a way that I just was, I don't know.
You are literally talking about my life. For people who don't know, I have another podcast called The Midnight Boys, and there will be times where I'm just like, you'll just get some room for you, just like, because to your point, I do think the other thing that we're talking about is this song was first premiered at Pharrell's first LV show, if I remember correct, where Clipse were actually walking down the runway. So in my mind, I was like, yo, Kendrick is on. Like, I think there was already rumors like Kendrick is on this. So to your point, this has been months and months and months of being like, where's this? And we didn't talk about the Def Jam of it all, but that was the holdup that according to Pusha T and Malice, Kendrick did this verse right around when the beef was heating up, and Def Jam essentially, according to them, was censoring their lyrics. They did not want Kendrick and Pusha T on the same record because of their standing beef with Drake, because of the lawsuit that Drake has against UMG. And I'm like, how can a verse honestly live up to all that drama, if that makes sense?
Right.
There was already lore around it that you're just like, what is this verse
exactly.
even? And once you get it, you're like, this was what got them censored?
Like, because according to Clipse, this is all allegedly, but it was the last line of Kendrick's feature that they said they were uncomfortable with, which the last line is, "Trump card told me not to spare your life." So they claimed, Clipse claimed that Def Jam claimed that they didn't want to have any beef with the administration. They didn't want to allude to the assassination, because I think from my reading on this verse and the story that you just related in terms of this being done at post beef, but not but pre GNX essentially. My reading of it, because it is so political, he starts off about like, I'm not the candidate to fuck with. And then he talks about Trump and there's all this political stuff. It sounds like it was written right after the Trump assassination in the middle of the election, is my interpretation of it. And so, but like essentially the Trump line was just Def Jam's excuse. But the real thing was the Drake beef, and not then wanting these two guys that have now demolished Drake in a rap battle to join up and seem like they're going at UMG's breadwinner. But to their credit, to the people that don't know, they bought themselves out of their contract with Def Jam and then now release this independently, which is beautiful. And a
they partner with Rock Nation.
Distribution deal with Rock Nation, but own the masters, which is great. I think that's perfect for them. It seems fitting.
I mean, not spoilers or to step on anything, but I think the fans don't know this yet. You think Tyler had a better showing on this album than Kendrick? Is that true?
It is. I think it is true. But okay.
I don't agree.
You don't agree? Okay.
I don't agree. I actually like the Kendrick verse. That's I never thought it happened. I really, really enjoy this Kendrick verse.
I like it too. I like let me like just state it's a phenomenal verse. It's a phenomenal. Okay, and I gotta go just let me ISO because I've gotten tons of questions about this. So let me just address some of them. Okay, so there's a theory going around that that Kendrick is rapping from Trump's perspective. This was put out by Jeremy Hecht, The Bigger Picture, great podcast with DJ Head and Elliot Wilson. So check that out if you haven't. But he proposed the idea, and I'm not sure if he was just kind of proposing it or he's really sold on it, but he made some correlations of like Trump's a Gemini as well, the illusion of genocide, saying that he's this candidate, and he kind of pointed at the Pentagon line and like kind of singled out some of these lines and offered the idea that he's rapping from Trump's perspective. I personally, after kind of analyzing the verse, I don't personally subscribe to that interpretation. I think it was more about the time in which it was created and seeing a parallel between this kind of election of Drake versus Kendrick being this parallel election with Trump. And I think it was written right after the assassination. And so there is allusions to Trump, but I don't think it doesn't make sense to me why he would be rapping like as Trump. And it doesn't hold up.
Is this just your kind of typical rapper State of the Union where this was almost like Kendrick's capstone of just like, this is why I did everything. Like this was the state of hip hop. And this is why I had to basically be like, nah, as someone who loves this shit, nah,
you have to think like he wrote this over a year ago thinking that it was going to come out, so he's writing post beef and almost did like a Watch the Party Die, like a epilogue type. And it's like, it's a part victory lap, part like, here's why I did it. Here's this, we're now taking for granted that Kendrick is on this kind of like, I don't know, vindictive kind of, he's on this kind of cutthroat energy that he has since post the beef. But you got to remember, pre-beef, post-morale, we all thought Kendrick was like either going to leave the industry altogether or he was going to be on this like therapy, I'm healed, like let's love everybody thing. So it's like there is some explaining here that we are taking for granted now that we know kind of what he's been on for the past year. But let me break down. So the famous thing about this verse is that he's doing this gen rhyme scheme where essentially I think it's like 8 bars in, he starts the 2-time Gemini with the genocide, and every line has 1 gen flip, if not 2. Most of them have 2, which because he's playing with this idea of 2-time Gemini with the genocide. And so this is a play on, I think most people are also interpreting it as a play on his nostalgia verse, which is he had the 10 scheme, the 9 and 10 scheme. So it's 10 with Pusha T and nostalgia. And now it's Gen on the Clipse album. So there's that connection there.
I like that.
And also, okay, so I gave you my breakdown of the nostalgia beat or the nostalgia lyricism, where it's like all the 9s and 10s add up to 87 and 1987 and 36 being, there's all these numeric, like really brilliant numerology stuff in it. So of course I'm going to like I literally count, of course I counted all the gens. and I was like, is he doing it again? Here's my working theory. I wanted to propose it to you because this is the only thing I got. I don't know whether he might not just not be doing numerology thing. That could just well be the case. But if he was, here's my best guess so far. I counted. He does a total of 22 gen rhymes, starting with Gemini genocide. So
Okay.
there's 15 true gens, like true GENSs, but the total scheme, there's 22 rhymes. And if you look at where that actually starts, the rhyme scheme starts with the 2-time Gemini with the genocide. 2-time, 22 gens, 2-time Gemini, the duality of Geminis, 22, 2-time Gemini. Are you buying it? I didn't lay it out eloquently there, but I think that I might be onto something. I don't know. What do you think?
I actually am right now. Wait, so is he trying to basically do a like also two sides of the Clipse, the Malice,
so.
the Push, 2-2?
And it's, I mean, he lays it out right there. I mean, this is classic Kendrick. He says, 2-time Gemini with the genocide. I'm generous. However you want it, I'll be the gentle kind. So on one hand, the Gemini is genocide, but also gentle. So you're getting the duality, right? This is Good Kid, Mad City. This is Pimp, Butterfly Caterpillar. This is Kendrick. This is what he does. But so that's what I need to think about it more. But I think that's what it is. 22 playing on the 2-time Gemini.
Okay, that's a good. I'm dissecting.
Okay.
I'm
Also,
actually
is
impressed.
this a layer? A couple of more possibilities for you. GEN, GNX.
You're not telling me on that one.
Here's how he ends the verse. God gave me light, a good year full of free wheel. Trump card told me not to spare your life. Goodyear tire, free wheel, spare tire. Alluding to GNX.
I spoke.
So the Gen, G and X, maybe. I don't know.
I mean, here's the thing. And when it was recorded, potentially was he thinking, oh, they're going to drop this shit right before G and X, and it's a little bit of a teaser before he gets to the album.
Perhaps. I don't know.
Woo! You're cooking, Cole.
The last connection I'll just throw out there, which I didn't come up with. I saw it on the internet, but Gene is Malice's real name. So, and 10 Terrence, you might make a connection there, but I don't know.
I'm not as sold on that one, but I'm very impressed. Here's the thing. You're making me love the Kendrick verse, and I already love it more than you. So.
Okay. So I love it. It's Kendrick. I love it. I'm still getting over the build up and the letdown of a verse that had too high of expectations. But okay, let's move on though. Let's move on to POV, next song.
I don't buy back. I've topped all these lists. Where's my prize? All I see is 60-day stars and 20-year thousandaires. Not enough shopping, whole lot of browsing theirs. My reinvention.
Tyler gets a feature. But before we get to the Tyler feature, I love this song. I love Pusha T's just like nonchalant, like just extremely disgusted at just, there's so much broke shaming on this album.
That's why I love Pusha T.
He's just so disgusted. And
but here's the thing. This is why I think Pusha T is great, because Pusha T, he's disgusted with people, with the reality stars on Zeus Network. He's disgusted with these streamers out there. I love Pusha T because like there is this side of him where he's just like, I need to call out what I feel is corny in the culture. And he does it in such a way where I'm like, yo, what's the thousandaire? What's the first line?
This actually might be my favorite line of the entire album. All I see is 60-day stars and 20-year thousandaires.
Good.
Not enough shopping, whole lot of browsing errors.
The only Audi here is driven by my Alpine. Like, dog.
Yeah, the Audi is a good car, isn't it? Like
that's what makes it so funny, because it's like, yo, I was driving in my fucking Toyota Corolla. I'm like, he ain't say nothing about my car.
Yeah, with my Mazda. Yeah.
Wait, can I say what one of my favorite Malice lines from this is?
Oh yeah, okay.
I done sung along with rappers I never believe. Came back for the money. That's the devil in me. Had to hide it from the church. That's the Jekyll in me.
Oh my God.
Like, Malice is spazzing on this record.
Yeah, more often than not, I think Malice has the best verse on.
Well, but also what's interesting to me, even though Pusha T is like a top 5 rapper to me, if I had to make my top 5 rapper list, Pusha T's in there. That's how much I love Pusha T. But I find it so fascinating how much all the little things he has to do, where Malice, I agree with you. I think Malice's verses, he's out rapping Push, but Push is doing a lot of the hooks. He's leading off the songs.
Yep.
He's kind of setting. You can tell that what it's allowing Malice to do is that there was this interview that he did with Ebro, and Ebro was the only one who brought up that he was still releasing music as No Malice. And you could tell at that moment, he's just like, finally, someone, like, people acted like I wasn't here.
Right.
And you can just feel that edge on the record of Malice being like, no, you guys forgot who I am. Because I think even historically, most people would say that Malice was
the guy,
the better rapper, and I would say Pusha T was the more entertaining rapper. Is that fair?
I think so. Yeah, I was going to ask you about you notoriously have a complicated relationship with beat switches, and Malice's verse on the POV. It comes after Tyler's, and there's a beat switch. He doesn't rap, his entire verse is over a brand new beat at the same tempo. Did you think this beat switch was effective?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it didn't feel like a gimmick. This beat switch was amazing.
Yeah.
And this isn't, I love beat switches. I do. I just think they've been used too much.
Yeah.
Where it's like almost a lot of times it doesn't feel like the beat switch is adding to the song. It feels like two separate thoughts, and it just feels like they wanted to show us that they could spend a lot of money and do something. Where it's like Pharrell is the type of producer, if he's going to do a beat switch, it's going to be for a reason. It's going to sound good. Malice sounds incredible on this. And if I could be real about Tyler as well, I have a complicated relationship with Tyler, but like, if you can think of any rapper right now that is more indebted to Clipse, Pharrell, a child of the Neptunes, a child of that sound, you can tell Tyler's like, y'all are not all right with this. I'm like, Tyler, damn, I ain't hear you like this. That line that Tyler has about dirty white like mosh pits.
Oh yeah,
insane,
so sick,
insane. I'm like, Tyler, I know you had it in you.
He understood the assignment. I mean, it's semi Clipse cosplay, but I love it.
It is Clipse cosplay, but do you expect anything different? And I mean that in a good way. Like, I'm like, he's been waiting his entire life.
Exactly. Yeah, Tyler's story. Like, he's been. Yeah, this is a pinnacle moment for him. It has to be, right. Like, and he met the moment. I think he blends perfectly in. It also makes me want. Like, I love Tyler's production. I think one of the most unique and standout important things about him is that he produces all his own music. But there is a part of me that wants a Tyler, the Creator mixtape where he's rapping on other people's beats like this, just rapping, nothing deep, just like go off. Because like, can you imagine an album like this or an EP like this? And
if I'm going to be real, what I want is actually different. I think I want the Pharrell produced Tyler record now, where Tyler doesn't even touch he's just, because here's the thing. I love Tyler. Like, I think Tyler is a really, really, really good producer, but because he's a producer in his own right, it's very rare that we get to like hear him for an extended time over other people's production. Can you imagine if Pharrell was like, all right, I'm gonna give you like that shit.
Well, that's what I was saying. Like, I want to hear him on other people's beats, not his own.
Oh, I thought you were more so like in mixtape. I thought you were just like, hey, yo, I want to hear him on the grinded beat. I want to hear him.
Oh, no, yeah. Just original production.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, damn, I don't know if I want to hear like Tyler the Creator over Metro Boomin. I'm like, Cole, I can't go sign that one. I was confused.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite lines on the entire album is the last 4 lines. I need God to play the lead in my biopic. The curse of the zeros. When you become the devil or the tap dancing Negro, I came to terms that I probably outgrow my heroes. Like the curse, the zeros, the devil, the God, like he's playing into the Clipse kind of iconography just so perfectly. And he gives you that at the end. It's just so perfect.
So who is this verse directed at, because Tyler was real quick to be like, hey, yo, he hopped on Twitter. He's like, nah, don't.
Oh, not a Cardi, right? Yeah. Because there's a line about you got sued over a feature.
Yes.
Which sounds like it was Cardi, right?
Cardi?
Yeah. I think that's what he was alluding to on Twitter, was like he had an old friend sued, essentially, I think it was a cease and desist. And that came out like when Chromacopia came out, there's a Cardi verse on the vinyl physical record. The sample pressings of the vinyl has a Cardi verse on one of the songs. And apparently Cardi, this is all allegedly, but like apparently Cardi sent a cease and desist for it. So people are speculating it's that.
I'm gonna be honest. I love me some Playboy Cardi. Playboy Cardi don't need to say anything to Tyler. Tyler will pack that nigga up. I love Cardi too. Don't attack Dissect people. I love me some Playboy Cardi. I never want to hear Playboy Cardi in a beef ever.
Yeah, and then I mean, I came to terms that I'm probably going to outgrow my heroes. I mean, I don't know when this verse was written, but like, you know, Kanye has been taking shots at Tyler.
That's what I was. Yeah. That was what I wanted to ask you about. I'm like, I thought that a lot of this was some Kanye, like, no, because Kanye went on that Twitter rant about how Tyler don't have no like classic songs or whatever he was fucking saying. And I was just like, hey, I got to give it to Tyler. Like, shit. Do it. And that's also the thing that I love about Clipse. They bring out the hate in everyone that touches their record. Kendrick, Tyler, they like, oh, now I can talk. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, like, you want a Clipse record if you're a rapper? Like, just get your hate off. Okay. So be it.
This is this is my second favorite song on the entire.
Okay, what's your first favorite? Or have we got there yet? We're gonna go through, I think, probably like 3 more like we just did. So
all right, let's do So Be It.
Okay.
All right, so
oh yeah, go ahead. One of your favorite songs.
This record plays so well in the whip. Okay, the first night we got to discuss it. You weren't awake. So I played this at like 12. That's how much of a fan I am. I'm like, I stayed up till I was just like, all right, boom, 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 playing it. I hear the beat because they hadn't released the CDQ for So Be It. You could only listen to it on like YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, whatever. So I was like, I can't wait until this is on Spotify. I hear So Be It Part 2. I'm like, oh, we getting a whole verse, no whole verse. I'm like, okay. The beat is trash. I'm sorry.
Trash?
I think the So Be It Part 2 beat isn't trash, just compared to the original. When I'm like, how dare y'all? How dare y'all? Because then I think within hours, maybe it wasn't even hours, they had uploaded it. Have you heard any reason why they switched it?
I have not, and I haven't gone and I'm sure it's somewhere, but I haven't gone and looked or listened to the Part 2 yet. So
maybe Part 2 will grow on me, but So Be It. It's just.
What was different about the beat? Do you remember? Was it like
it was very like just a lot more instrumentation, a lot busier.
But did it have the same lead and everything? Did it sound like the same sample source, or was it totally different?
I've only listened to it once, so like it's foggy. All I just remember is like it still kind of sounds like So Be It. It's all the same lyrics and whatever. It was just very orchestral, very ornate, very very busy in a way that like this So Be It beat. The OG one is just crystal clear.
So sparse, but every element is just like it hits. That hook riff is so good.
That
yeah.
It ain't no secret, so be it, so be it. Smoke. So be it, so be it. Smoke.
Yeah.
Ooh. So be wait. I gotta go to some of these lyrics really quick.
All
Give me a sec.
Yeah, and while you're pulling those up, I think this is like my ideal Clipse hook.
Yes.
Yes. Like just give me the catchy instrumental lead and just push saying so be it, like just so simple. I think like one of my criticisms, very few criticism of this album is like some of the hooks I'm just like not crazy about. Pharrell, all due respect to Pharrell, but there are some of the hooks of his I'm just like, I don't know.
Wait, let's have the talk real quick.
Okay.
Not to all right. I agree. So Be It is the platonic ideal of a Clipse hook. My problem with this record is that for as good as Pharrell sounds production-wise, the singing voice it's tough. And here's the thing. I know what it is. Nobody get mad at me. I've listened to more Pharrell music. We all know sometimes that falsetto don't be hitting them notes. That's part of why we love it. Part of what Pharrell sells is a vibe. Like sometimes you don't like, you listen to old whole records with Pharrell and you just like, you could get a better singer. I wouldn't want a better singer. Pharrell as the producer knows exactly what the hook needs generally. But I think as he's aged, it's a little spotty. And there are a couple Pharrell hooks on this where I'm like, this isn't it.
Or just for me too, is like the hooks just sometimes just felt unneeded. Like,
yes.
Sometimes it's like do the Doom approach, just 2 verses in and out, and just no hook, no hook it. I know Clipse does hooks traditionally, but like some of these songs, I'm just like
some of them don't. I would say a lot of the ones that like Pharrell is on, to your point, I'm just like, all you need to do is take off this Pharrell hook and the song becomes like 25% better. And once again, Pharrell did an amazing job on this. Yeah. I just think also what we're probably talking about a little bit is that Pharrell has kind of been lost at sea in recent years in terms of what he does musically. When can you say, what's the last great Pharrell beat that you can remember of like the last 10 years?
Yeah, off the top, I don't have to think about it. But yeah, to your point, yeah.
And that's nothing. Here's the thing. To your point, he's at LV. He's been doing
Yeah. He's evolved. He's doing movies. He's doing soundtracks. Like, yeah.
So while the production I think he locked in on, I think he as like because that was a classic thing about Clipse as well. When Pharrell would arrive on their track, it was an event. And sometimes I feel like when he arrives on these tracks, does it have that same eventful feeling?
Yeah, maybe it was. Yeah, and maybe it is a little oversaturation. Maybe instead of 6 tracks or whatever he's on, maybe of those 3, they would feel more impactful. But he's he has a consistent voice across the entire record. So
can I tell you what my favorite song is?
Did you want to call out any "So Be It" lines, or you want to move on?
Oh yes, I found it.
Okay.
Pusha T has this line, and I think it is one of the slickest lines. And if you blink, you miss it. Fuck around and get your body traced trying to test me because niggas that I'm with like to draw when it's sketchy.
This is the only line I have pulled out from "So Be It." It is exactly that couplet.
That couplet is, and once again, I think Clipse better than any rapper in the world can do couplets like that. Where when I say it's like it's easy, when I was listening to "So Be It" so many times, and it took somebody on Twitter like just posting the lyrics, and I was like, fuck. Yeah. And that they are just so good at those just very. There's one line that Malice has that's like very, very simple on one of my favorite songs is, "You niggas is screenwriters, we dream writers. Took change and touched change like King Midas."
Dude.
Dog.
I have that. That's like my one like kind of in-depth breakdown. So let's get there.
Mike Tyson, blow to the face.
Well, let me before we get there though, because you read it kind of fast. I just want people to understand the wordplay there if they didn't catch it. So fuck around, get your body traced, trying to test me. Traced starts this drawing motif.
Yes.
Because N-words that I'm with like to draw when it's sketchy. So like literally drawing a sketch, but also drawing guns because there's a sketchy situation. So you get the trace, draw, and sketchy. It's like, it's not overly complicated, but it's just so perfectly written, so perfectly delivered. Again,
you got the sketchy, like, oh, shit's getting problematic. Like it's just, it works on so many different.
It's so good. Okay. Mike Tyson, blow to the face.
You niggas is screenwriters, we dream writers. Took chains and touched change like King Midas. Imitation is flattery, they seem like us, but only 300 bricks can make you Leonidas. My old plug asked the new.
This was my favorite song on first listen. It might still be my favorite song. Is this your number one?
This is my number one song on this album.
So good.
I think it's the best rap song of the year. The Biggie flow, the beat. I listened to the snippet of this before it came out thousands of times. I was like,
oh, really? Where was the snippet? I missed that.
So they gave Pusha T's whole verse was posted, and I think it was when they were promoting the album. I forget around what time it was, but they have kind of like this music video of this black cowboy running through the streets, and I just like looped it. It is we have to kind of like dissect the rapping on this, the flow on this, the economy of it.
One of the all-time great Clipse lyrics, the Bezos of the nasals.
I had this as well.
That is that is 5 words, but really just 2 words because it's the and of, and the again is, but it's really just Bezos nasals, and like how perfect. Again, economy of words. That is a perfect bar for Clipse. It explains everything about them.
Also, would you say that this is what you were kind of talking about, where they don't need this hook to do too much?
Oh yeah, this is another perfect.
This is another perfect clip,
because it says it's essentially just like part of the verse they repeat, you know.
Yes.
And that to me is the perfect Clipse verse or hook. Is just take the catchiest part of your verse and make it the hook, repeat it. Like that's simple. Like, but the wordplay in the hook is so good. Like, she want Mike Tyson blow to the face. Obviously, like there's just a ton. It's not even just like the blow. Mike Tyson being a boxer, but also Mike Tyson like was on coke.
Yes,
at his height. So it's like even within that, there's like multi layers. But then you forget like there's internal rhymes. So it's like they're rhyming Tice and Tyson, blow and face. So it's Shalom ice. She wants the snow on a plate. Half price when the blow is in the crates means more ice for the mo's and the a. So they got a triple rhyme scheme throughout all 4 bars. There's entendre on entendre. It all is playing on this ice motif with the snow and it's just like, it's just so perfect. Like such a good, and then
there's some lines. The snow alone fill up a mobile home. My niggas name ring like mobile phones and no one's home. That eternal rhyme, the slickness of it, like it just hits you in the fucking gut, bro. What's the Leonidas line? Malice's Leonidas line is so good.
Okay, yeah, I'll get there, but we got it. One of my favorite lines too. White back-to-back rolls at the gates. White slave masters, souls in my safe. Like, oh my God.
Oh, sorry. Like the fans are just like, how excited are they going to get after F5? And I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's again, you can just like put on a blindfold, put your finger at a lyric, and just it's going to be great. It's going to be perfect, like every single line. But okay, Malice, this might be like the verse of the album.
Are you going to break down for us?
Okay, yeah. So it's like the whole like last part of his verse, because he keeps going back to these motifs. Okay, so it's you N-words is screenwriters, we dream writers. So remember screenwriters as a motif.
Okay.
We took change and touched chains like King Midas being this Greek mythology. Everything he touched turns to gold.
Yep.
He's flipping that as their come up story, rags to riches, all that, took these poor circumstances, transcended them, touching chains. Imitation is flattery. They seem like us. So that, remember the imitation motif?
Okay.
But only 300 bricks can make you Leonidas. So that rhyming King Midas with Leonidas. So you have this kind of mythology, like timeless tales and tying into the kind of Clipse mythology they always play with. 300 being obviously a movie about Leonidas and this was it the Trojan army, Sparta army?
Spartan? No, it was
Sparta.
It was a Spartan.
King of Sparta, yeah. But 300 is a movie calling back to the screenwriters opening bar of the sequence. He says, my old plug asked a new plug to reunite us. D-class in my ears now. Let me see you bite it. So ears plays on the next line. She want Mike Tyson blow to the face. So he's talking about D-class diamonds in its earring. Let me see you bite it. Calls back to the imitation is flattery motif from 2 lines before, but also sets up Evander Holyfield and Mike Tyson, the biting of Mike Tyson's ear. So we're getting the imagery of that, tying it in, setting up the hook that's about to come. And then one of my favorite, again, super simple and clean. I'm talking 96 Hove with the bass. It's just such the perfect end cap on this. Obviously, parallel stories with them and Hove, bass being an entendre on bass in your car and bass as in cocaine. Just like perfect, just perfect. All these threads, the screenwriter, the movie motif, the imitation, Mike Tyson, the blow. Like, I can do this for every fucking line is the point, though.
I mean, even the line, I love this line, but God only knows my intention, but selling dope is a religion. It's like selling dope is a religion?
Yeah.
Malice, relax. You still got to go to church, bro. Relax.
Or even like Pusha's flow where he's doing the white python Milano with the taste. Mike Tyson blow to the face, but then he switches the flow, twist and turn these guns, blitz.
Whoa, no, that is my twist and turn these guns, but they're gotta get like. Also, that is the thing that I think they're also really good at is like they're students of the game. You know what I'm saying? They're taking flows that they grew up on that they like, and then twisting it in their own way. That is also what I think. Sometimes maybe the overexcitement about this album, where I think that this album is very good, but I think what we're actually celebrating is so few rappers now are this intentional, where it's like they want to give us 20, 25 songs. Yeah. The songs sound rushed. The beats sound rushed. You know, it's just like when they're rapping, to your point that you brought up earlier, it's not tight. It's not considered. There's not couplets. There's not all this internal rhyme. This is a song that I like when I say is like deceptively simple. To be able to have these flows, switch them in and out, this clean, this enunciated is really, really technical work. Even like when Pusha and Malice were talking about Pharrell producing the record, a lot of times they would hear a beat and they'd be like, oh, fuck, how are we going to rap on this? How are we going to find the pocket? That's why I honestly think Clipse might be the most talented group able to rap over Pharrell beats, because he can throw his most like sparse alien. If you just heard it, you'd be like, what is this? And they can just kind of locate exactly what it needs.
Okay, to that point, I'll just call out the technical nerdy shit on So Far Ahead. Is that So Far Ahead is that like gospel kind of sounding chorus, and he's talking about being so like it's just such a classic Pharrell dichotomy of just like stunting but like singing like this gospel. Essentially sounds like it belongs in a church.
Wait, is that the one where he goes, they don't know what it is when I'm on it?
It's like comically good. And then, but that song is in 6/8 time, which Pharrell tries to give, like, there's not a lot of rap songs in 6/8 time, which is more of a swingy type, kind of a seesaw feel. And it's like, if all you're used to is rapping 4/4 on the beat, like, someone will give you a 6/8 and they just won't know how to rap on it.
Yeah.
But to your point, like they find a very unique way to rap over a 6/8 beat in a way that like they don't know that they're probably rapping on a 6/8 beat, but Pharrell just hands them this thing and they're like, yeah, how am I supposed to, where's the groove? Like this isn't, it's not entirely my comfort zone, but then eventually they find the groove and it's great.
Swerving through the lane, serving niggas cane, still ain't never hit a pothole. If I was Brittany Griner, I'ma need Obama, only wanna swap his chapeau. Furthest from the streets.
There's like the contrast between the gospel chorus of that song. Like that song to me, that chorus works to me as comical and like over like it's almost like too much, like comically too much. Pharrell's hook. I love the contrast between that gospel sound. And,
I used to hate this song, and it grew on me.
Okay,
the kookiness of it.
It is kind of goofy, yeah.
It's goofy, but then once you kind of like, you listen to it, and you're like, oh,
yeah.
And to your point, I love the verses on this. I love the flow that they, like the pocket that they're in.
Yeah.
Because to your point, you almost have to surrender to the beat. You know what I mean? Where you almost have to, that you can feel Push and Malice once they find the flow that can work on the 6/8. They're just like, you feel like you're in good hands. And that's what I've always felt like with Clipse, is that the other thing we haven't talked about, I think Clipse have some of the best voices for rapping.
Yeah.
I think their voices and just like the texture of it and the cleanness, it's like cocaine. It's clean. It's basic. It's just... Sorry.
Perfect.
You've
No.
never seen me like this. This
I know,
even
but
know
this is like as giddy as I think I've ever seen you. It's beautiful. You're like a notorious cynic, and I'm always the optimistic one. And it's kind of
I mean,
weird.
does it surprise you that one of the most negative groups it's my favorite?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that makes total sense. Well, on that note, thanks for coming on the show to talk about the Clipse. I think we covered a lot in an hour.
Yeah.
I'm going to probably do more dissection. So people that want me to break down more bars, I'll have probably at least some shorts on TikTok and Instagram coming. But we should plug Last Song Standing. So for those that don't know, me and Charles have a podcast called Last Song Standing that publishes on the Dissect feed every year. The premise of the show is that we pick one artist. First season was Kendrick, second season was Frank Ocean, third season was Outkast. And the premise of each episode of each season is that we try to by going through their entire discography, episode by episode, album by album, we try to determine that artist's single greatest song. So it's essentially like a extended album or song bracket, and we talk through every album, every song, nominate our favorite songs for each album, whittle it down until me and Charles have to agree on their greatest song of all time.
Yep.
So we have a new season of Last Song Standing coming 2 weeks, essentially 2 weeks from when this episode drops. So it's coming right after the Morale season. And do we want to reveal? We're going to mix up the format. I should say right?
That's all you should say. But
okay.
What I want to tell the audience is I think you're going to love where we landed with this season, because I'm in the gym getting like texts from Cole being like, yo, what is this? There is a certain artist that you complimented where I was like, I never thought I'd get this out of Cole. I've never actually been going into a season. I've never been more interested in your takes that you're going to have. You know what I mean? For kind of what we're cooking up this year. I was like, oh, we're going to hit some records that I don't think we were ever going to be able to hit.
Yeah. I'm excited
on this. So
yeah, we'll have the trailer a week from today. So you'll know what the premise of the next season is. And then it's going to premiere. I'm coming down to LA to record in the studio. So it'll be our first video podcast, but thank you, Charles.
Thank you. It's been an honor, man. Yo, everybody, I'll see you later.